Hello, all. This is Professor Harvey at Catholic International University, www.catholiciu.edu. In case it might be helpful, I thought I would share my thoughts from the perspective of an instructor, of a professor, on the study tips for online university studies to not only pass, but to grow and excel in the process. In a sense, this list is based on my years of experience with students and could also be considered a sort of kind of a professor's wish list of certain study habits for students. The first, take notes often. Take notes over the syllabus, over the readings, the lectures, feedback from the assignments, and so on. Notes can be typed or handwritten, it doesn't matter. But it is not the same as highlighting, underlining, or making comments in the margins of a book, although that is all helpful. In online education, we sometimes think that because the material is online for me to go back to, like a lecture, and check from time to time, that I don't need to take notes. That is a study habit of the past, taking notes, but not the learning style of the future where everything's at our fingertips. That is simply false. The bodily and intellectual process of taking notes allows a student to engage and organize the content that is actually a learning experience in itself. A student that takes notes, and good notes, will grow in ways that a student that doesn't will not. The second, be sure to read the assigned version of a text. For example, if I require Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien or Introduction to Christianity by Joseph Ratzinger, and even if you have a copy on your shelf or as an ebook, make sure it matches the one that all the students and the professor will be working from and citing throughout the course. The third, if you struggle with preparing for quizzes or exams, a few things you can do is review aloud some of your notes that you've been taking. That's point one, right? Taking notes. So reciting them out loud or having someone help review them with you and quiz you. And if you need to, you can also recopy some of those notes into a review section in your notes. Or possibly even you could make flashcards and quiz yourself over some of the content in your notes to make sure that you're getting it into your memory. The fourth point, cite well and cite often. There's no way around this. You need to be comfortable with footnotes and a bibliography page. You need to cite the materials, regardless if it is a quote, a paraphrase, or a summary. Okay. All three will need a citation. Essentially, if you're pulling it from another source, you want to give credit to that source. Now, let's look at the fifth point. Most assignments will not be interested in simply just your thoughts, your reactions. It will be your thoughts on the material. You have to show your mastery of the material. This is not just about quoting and citing your quotes. You should use quotes, but you can also overuse quotes. It is possible. If you only use quotes, then all you are demonstrating is your ability to find a quote and talk about it. But that is not the same as mastery. While a quote may be needed for authority or to analyze the technical language, I would suggest emphasizing paraphrases and summaries. They are harder to do for newer university students, but they also require us to understand the text. The act of putting the sources into your own words, getting the main concepts, retaining the main vocabulary without losing it. This is a learning process as well in of itself. Forcing yourself to do it, forcing yourself to realize I put it into my own words, but I missed the key element. The professor said this in the review of my assignment. And to grow in your ability to do it will only strengthen your mastery of the materials of the course and reach the objectives of the course and of the program and of the university. All right, the sixth point. Yes, you need to emphasize paraphrases and summaries and cite them and have quotes and cite them, but you also need to explore a bit what the sources say. This requires logic and could come in the form of analysis or a synthesis. It's not the same thing as giving what the source says, and explaining what conclusion you have arrived at based upon it. But you need to build a case, make an argument, show the steps and the logic of how you came to that conclusion. So that means at least three elements. Okay. There is the source material put into your own words or quoted. There is also a conclusion made at some point, right? And then from there, you also need to find, and this isn't an order you have to follow in terms of how it comes up in the paragraph, how you reach that conclusion based upon what that source said. Sometimes it's a little bit more straightforward, but oftentimes, at least for me, as I'm reading papers, reading forum posts, I don't always see what the student sees, right? And my professors didn't for me either, because we know it because we're the ones that went through the process and arrived at that conclusion. But we need to help the reader to be persuaded of our conclusions, of our points of connection, or our other elements in the analysis or synthesis process. All right, let's move on. To the seventh, go through assignment feedback closely and be sure to integrate it into the next assignment. Point 8, ask questions. If we were in a live classroom setting, students would be asking me regular questions or answering my regular questions. Don't wait to find out if you understand something when you submit an assignment for the grade. Ask first and then integrate the back and forth with the professor into the assignment. Ninth point. As we pursue together truth, goodness, and beauty, and often also the enabling of ourselves for a particular career or skill, as that's simply the situation that we live in today, I would promote humility as the central virtue for the student that wishes to excel in their studies and in life. This doesn't mean not asking questions about grades or not pointing out when a professor missed something. Please do. But it means an openness not to be confirmed, simply to be confirmed in knowledge or skills already brought to the class, but to be open and receptive to grow in ways not currently being experienced. So it's a desire to move beyond where I am and to get to this next point in my journey, recognizing the fact that this course, this term, this semester, this year will be instrumental in that. Now, of course, the university experience isn't the only dimension or only means of growth in our life, right? But just being open to that and seeing that I'm enrolling in this course because I'm a student, I need it, and I expect to grow by the end. The last point, seek Christ in your studies. Yes, this means taking theology classes as required, but also integrating prayer into your studies, frequenting the sacraments, and pursuing academic integrity throughout every assignment. As the fruits of the Holy Spirit grow within you, such as joy, be sure to then bring that joy with you into the digital classroom. Share your joy with all of us. All right. There are others, and my colleagues might switch one out for another here and there or emphasize one more than another. But I think this is a good place to start on your academic journey as a university student. Thanks for listening, everyone. And may God be with you all. Take care, everyone. And as always, if you need anything, just reach out. Bye.